All right, I'm going to read this because I can't remember it all. So it's with great joy we have a place at last in Coventry. Obviously we've got the plaque downstairs dedicated to Delia Derbyshire. We've got a little place here now dedicated to Delia Derbyshire. I talk about Coventry legends quite a lot in my column, but when you come to Delia, she really is a Coventry legend. In fact, let's hear it for Delia Derbyshire. Hey. Thank you. So we'd like to welcome Clive, who's Delia's partner. Clive Blackburn's come along today to open this for us, and as you were saying, you don't do a lot of this, so we do appreciate him coming along and being part of this. It's brilliant. So before we go on, we've got a thank you board up there, but it'd be remiss of me if I didn't thank some people. So the Heritage Lottery, obviously, they've helped us. Jeff Holden, who built all this, he did a fantastic job. Somebody called Nigel Meffin, who does all the filming. Nigel.
He's my favourite.
Yeah, he's my favourite too. Lindsay Joplin, that did the floor. Julie Chambers is always there for us. Tony Seaton, there's Tony, that's done a lot of stuff. And all our volunteers, and again, of course, Clive, who it's just amazing to have you here, and going to do the duties in a minute. Without Clive loaning us, by the way, some of these things from the display, obviously Delia's tape recorder, a personal copy of the Doctor Who and the CDs and everything. People will probably know that Manchester, the University of Manchester's got pretty much everything, the whole lot. So to have something is just amazing, really, which is why we kind of think, we thought, you know, Delia's stuff was over in the corner in the cabinet in the 60s. And once we'd extended, I thought, hey, you know, let's do something. It's gone through different stages in my mind, but we're here now with the radiophonic workshop. To those who don't know, and I don't think there's anybody here who probably doesn't know, but obviously that's where Delia worked her magic for many, many years. And obviously everybody equates Delia with the Doctor Who theme, but she was far more than that. You know, if you read some of the stuff that she did up here, you'll hear some of the bits on the little TV thing we've got going in a minute. Far more than just the Doctor Who theme, and she really was a genius that influenced so many people. You see names on here: the Beatles, the Chemical Brothers, Orbital, Jerry Dammers. Jerry Dammers is a massive Delia fan. Sonic Boom, Pink Floyd, Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones, and John and Yoko. It's quite well known now because Q actually ran it, that Paul McCartney wanted Delia to do an electronic version of Yesterday. It never actually happened, as far as we know, sadly. But imagine that. But there's Paul McCartney, you know, so absolute genius.
She met him and they talked about it, yeah.
All right, can you tell us any more? Or?
No, I don't know much about the conversation.
Oh, wow.
They did meet.
Fantastic. Imagine that. That would have been quite something.
And she met Pink Floyd as well, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
because she was like one of the experts at that time on the synthesizers, and all the groups were just adopting them, didn't know anything about them, so they used to come to her.
Fantastic. Alright, okay, as I say, this display is based around the radiophonic workshop. I think I've said most of the stuff that's actually on here. So, if you'd like to come over here, Clive, next to me, so we're better off with the photography and stuff. So, tell us a little bit about the Delia that you knew as a person, and obviously bringing in a little bit about her work, obviously.
I met her in 1978, which was after she'd left the BBC. She had been up in Cumbria. Yeah, it all got a bit much for her, and she left London, went off to Cumbria, wasn't doing any music at all, did various sort of ordinary jobs. And she came back on a visit to London. I met her then through a friend of ours. And then eventually she ended up moving to Northampton, sold a house in Cumbria and moved to Northampton. And I started coming up to see her, and eventually I moved in with her in 1980 in Northampton. And through her I met a lot of the people that she had worked with in the past, because they used to come to her, you know, to do a bit of music and also for advice on things and to listen to things and give her an opinion. She was a bit of a guru, you know, people used to come to her and really respected her opinion on music.
Did you know much about her when you first met her?
I knew who she was. I knew who she was. Yeah.
And you knew what she'd done as well?
Yeah, more or less. Obviously I learnt a lot more later.
Fantastic. So, we talked earlier on about you don't do a lot of these things now, but researching this, your name gets mentioned an awful lot. How do you feel about that?
I did a lot of it. I did a lot of it when she died. I felt that it was sort of really an obligation to, but these days the interest died down a bit. And
do you think that's true?
Really
Because
like
I find it's like the interest seems to be even bigger now.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I do turn down invitations to things sometimes.
Well, I'm glad you didn't turn ours down. Thank you so much. So, as a little thank you, and it's not very much, but just to sort of so you remember today. If you like to, are you ready with this? Sorry. Just a little thank you. It's just the thank you board, but it's got your name on it.
Thank you very
There's
much.
nothing too exciting, but if we do a photograph of, do you want to, hang on, how do we do this? Yeah, hold that. Something like that. Alright. Just a little something.
Right.
So, the next thing.
You have done a great job with this. I mean, this really looks authentic.
Well, that means a lot coming from you.
I worked for the BBC myself between like 1968 and 70. I never met Delia. I didn't go to the workshop. Yeah, we were there briefly for about 6 months at the same time. We never met each other. But this is exactly how it used to look. This is just straight out of the 1960s.
Oh, that's
all
wonderful.
the equipment's authentic. Fantastic.
Right, so let me put that down for you for a minute.
Yeah.
Put that there. If you'd like to go and step in there, then I can put the tape across. You see what tape we're using? Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's got to be done right, he says. And also, to cut it, do be ever so careful with
Razor
that.
blade.
A razor blade.
Yeah.
Right, so we, is everybody ready with cameras and ting?
Delia would have spent about 15 minutes over this, wondering when to cut it.
Hey, thank you very much. Now officially open. Thank you so much for that. Absolutely brilliant. We've also got some cake here.
How shall I cut it across the middle? Or?
If you just ceremonially just push the knife in, sort of I don't know, just put it in there by the.
Okay.
We'll do it that side. It wouldn't be right with Delia's name there. So do it that side.